Namaste Dhilip ji, Hari Om.
Hari Om. This is one of the snaps taken in the awards.
Wow, looks great. Congratulations again. Very nice.
This is the
So the person who awarded this to you.
it's a group of people, I think. But headed by this person who's having, I think, 2.5 lakh subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Where I'm keeping the mouse pointer.
Oh, okay.
His name is Aditya Guruji, and he has been holding this what they call Manadu, a conference
Mm-hmm.
in Tamil Nadu, and this happens to be the 9th. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it should have been the 8th.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always double-minded about this number 8. Okay, so while I was active in Rotary, I knew I was heading towards being the 8th president. Because, you know, logically, you can infer that because of the way people are all lined up and things like that. So, when to avoid the 8th, I wanted to be the 7th. And so when I asked, there was a fight inside the club. There's another guy who said, no, I will not give you this. I am the one, like this. And they had a lot of politics and things like that. And finally, I gave up. But I was actually 2 times more active than him. But I lost my cool, and then I came back to my senses. I thought there's nothing personal in this. Okay, you take care. And after that, so I thought of becoming the 9th president. But whoever was chosen for the 8th, he walked out. He gave up.
So 8 was inevitable for you.
So there was a vacuum, and I refused 8. Even I refused. So there was a lot of conflict, and the founders of the club, that guy is extremely, rich person. He came to my office just casually like that. I didn't know why he was coming, and he held my hand. I didn't know what he was doing. Then he told me, in a slightly lowered voice, just consider. I'm considering these hands as your feet. You must accept to become the president, because the club will be in doldrums. It's a very active club and it's earned a lot of name in the district. So don't let us down. So please consider this as your, I'm touching your feet. So I couldn't say anything. I mean, he's a nice man. And then, of course, he has a great standing in the society and all that. So I said, okay, then I became the 8th president. So when I saw this was the 9th conference, I didn't know why it happened. It should have been normally the 8th. And they asked me to speak on number 8 also. And but the next president after me, he was my student and follower. So when he took on the mantle on the opening day, the acceptance speech, he said, now also 8 is only dominating, because he's the 8th president and I am the 9th. If you add 8 plus 9, you get 17, and 1 plus
17, which is an 8.
We are still together. We are still in the 8 only. Like that he said, and made it like a very interesting joke. And but he also did it very well. But for him, 9 was lucky, so that was not a problem. So later I found out, but Rotary is actually, if you add ROTARY, it's actually 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that pet project was polio, which is again starts with P, addresses to Saturn, and then if you convert POLIO into numbers, it will come back to 8. And 4 people joined together to form this international organization. But the founder's name was also started with P.
Oh.
It was completely 8 and Saturn related.
And it is related to legs, sir.
Yeah, related legs. Of course, that's why I said Saturn. So his name is Paul Harris, and there was a Paul Harris fellow. They gave, based upon your contributions. That I became a major donor in the Rotary Foundation. Starting with $10,000 for polio, I donated, and then I moved into the next category of major donors. During that year, we did a lot of projects, and we won 13 awards. I won 13 platinum awards. So it keeps going back between 4 and 8 for me all the time. It's between Rahu and Saturn. Because Rahu and Saturn, they're opposite to each other, and a lot of things for Saturn and Rahu in my chart. So during that period, I also did a project connecting to the police. Inside the police commissioner office, we did a program for inspectors and assistant commissioners of police. It was a big success. It was a big success because the way their feedback was, we understood. In fact, all the police officers, they all broke down at the end, emotional. The lady inspectors, they were hugging my wife and saying, "We never been treated like this. We are always surrounded by criminals and shouting and all this. We wish every day, life was like this." And the men came to me and said the same thing. So that was a very unforgettable moment. Again, coming from police, P. So when Saturn troubles police is the biggest trouble. So when you're blessed by the police,
it is anyway favorable to you, I thought.
No, it is a double-edged thing. I had a horrible experience with 8. It was only after.
Lagna,
No. It is also second lord.
Oh, okay.
It's also second lord. It's a tricky graha. That's why Maharshi Parashara does not say Saturn is a benefic for Makar Lagna. He's right, and he's always right. So during my Rahu Shani, I saw nightmares almost every day.
Oh boy.
But it was that which taught me the lessons on karma and so many other things. And so I have proof that you can change this to positive. I know for sure. Because now it's just the opposite. I can give a speech on this at any time. I can give at least some 10-hour speech if you want on the power of Saturn. But it's not so easy to send this message across. Like on that day when I was speaking, the mic got into trouble so many times. So I lost my, that flow, and then I stopped. Then later somebody in the comment session typed, if you say mic, M-I-C, if you convert it into numerology, it will come to 8. And as soon as my speech was over, the mic became all right. It is because the system doesn't want so easily, for other people to get the information.
Some delay.
No, it's about you got to be punished. You're not going to escape.
Blocking, sir.
You understand? So there was some strange, like a thunder one sound came from nowhere. It was exactly like thunder, like a bomb blast type. Huge sound, and everybody was staring at each other. I said something about Saturn, a very interesting point. And at that time, there was a huge noise from the speakers. But, I have this habit of not getting shaken up with sound. Even if you crack, suddenly some cracker or something like that comes, everybody will get like this. Nothing will happen to me. Even in sound effects in movies, everybody will get jerked like this. I won't move at all. It became, I got so, something that is special to me. I never get that, like this. So, so this experience, so I was talking since several, and they calculated, I was thinking that I'm going to speak during when the ascendant was over Pushya. But then the time got, everything got delayed. They didn't plan it properly. And finally, when I opened up, it became Saturn Hora.
Oh.
It came back to that somehow. of course, it was a grand thing, grand event. Meanwhile, Manoj said there are lot of poor astrologers here, many poor astrologers, hand to mouth living. And so we announced 50,000 grant to somebody who's in love with astrology but also poor. And then I asked the people to select, based on a lottery. And so they all, and some two people. And when I said this man who's called Aditya Guruji, he also said, I am also giving 50,000. And very strange, one man was extremely old. He's an MA in astrology. He's about 80 years. He couldn't even walk. Totally poor guy. The bag he was carrying revealed it all. And he couldn't even walk properly. And his name was Srinivas. Mahavishnu's name in Sri Rangam, which is the Vishnu place. And Trichy is dear to me because my life started there in NIIT. So, yeah, it has too many coincidences. And the Kalyana Mandapam was Raghavendra, where I opened Parashara Varashastra book only in the Raghavendra temple. And incidentally, this particular hall was inaugurated on 8th August. Yeah.
Wow. 8/8.
Yes, 8/8. 8th is, and then August is 8th month, right? So that's the independence month for India also. Okay, how many are there right now? I'll stop sharing. So this is the this is a close up. There was something hiding it. Yeah. They got somebody gave them my birthday photo. I don't know how they got it. How many of us? You can start with a prayer.
There's 28.
By prayer from who wants to do? Hand raise for prayer. Short prayer is welcome.
I can do Sahnava.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Thank you. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Sharanam. Did I tell you the story about the new Sai Baba photo in my consultation room?
No.
To this group?
No, it's new.
No.
Oh, the photo is new or the story is new?
Both.
Both, okay. See, during the COVID, I stopped going to the office. So, Hari Om to all who joined late. So during the COVID, I never went there for a direct consultation except for 2 or 3 top people of India. They compelled me. And apart from that, I never went there. And even then, I didn't use my room because it was being renovated. So during the renovation, a Sai Baba photo, which I got many years back, it was misplaced and they could not locate it. So the room was without this photo. I came to know about it just that day morning. Because I asked them to send me a photograph, 2-3 photos of the room, how they've done it. And I saw it was missing. So when I asked, they said it's here, there, and they couldn't actually locate it. Is the audio level right or high or low? Optimum?
It's perfect, actually.
Perfect, okay. So I just prayed to the Sai Baba idol in my house. And then I said, I'll soon get one to replace it in my room. And I went on to my consultation. So that person who came, Um, he said, before we start the consultation, I would like to give you a small gift from my side. And you can guess, right?
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah. So I got my office people to open the pack, the gift wrap. And there this Sai Baba photo. I looked at it and told them, this was actually missing. And then I put it in the same place where the old photo was, and then I began the consultation.
Yeah, Sai Baba also wanted to be new. With all the renovation and nice things.
Correct.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste to all.
Guruji, is this BSP or Satsang, Guruji? I keep getting confused.
Oh, Aruna Venkatachalam. It was brother and my brother-in-law who gifted you that, Guruji, right?
Yes, Guruji.
Oh.
Even my brother and my brother-in-law told the same thing that day. And we were like so happy and thrilled. I'm so excited to hear the story from you today. Thank you.
My office, all my staff, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in astrology. They're strange people. God sent them to me. Okay. So they don't know the value of these things. So which house do you think will be afflicted for my staff?
9th house?
Yes, all of them.
Guruji, do you check their charts before they come and start working for you?
No, I don't do that. Because sometimes it could be prashchit, like God sent them to you so that they will be at least, there's a chance for them to change. So if I've actually appointed a person who went to jail, a driver, but he never changed in spite of all my warnings. And during Sade Sati, he passed away. On 8th, along with 7 other people, the newspaper report was 8 people dead. And, can you guess the city in Tamil Nadu where they could have possibly, it could have happened?
Is it Pondicherry?
Pondicherry. Very good, Sai. You are going to become an astrologer very soon.
Sir, how did you guess that? How did you guess that, Sai?
Sai has to be paid for that. You have to give him some gift or something. Only then he will reveal. Sai, you tell her how it was done.
I mean,
already the answer is out.
Everybody goes to drink.
You use that logic. Okay, Sujata has given the right answer. The letter.
Also the P. Yeah.
The letter P. The problem was he was with a police officer, an inspector of police. So there's a P sitting next to him. So he thought God is sitting with him, and so all of them drank. And he was thinking that Inspector God will save all of them. But accidents don't know who is VIP or who is important people. So drinking is something.
So what happened to the police, sir?
They all died on the spot.
Oh.
All of them. So the newspaper report carried, and the mother called me the next day and said, how many times have you advised my son not to drink and drive? So 2-3 times he did it in my own car. I could get the smell of alcohol. And I told him, this is not good. What you're doing? No, sir, I had only little, he said. It's a Tiruvana Nakshatra, Shravana Nakshatra. So don't say anybody, oh, your moon sign is Saturn's own sign, and Saturn is going to be very kind to you. All that, you don't spread, stories like that to the layman, ever. No supervisor in an exam hall is going to be your friend. They'll all do the same thing. Even if they're a friend, the teacher cannot give you marks unless you have written your answers properly. See now, if this is the ascendant, I'm going to share the screen. So if this is the ascendant, who is the seventh lord?
Moon.
Moon. Right, all of you know that. So if moon is here, which are the months during which marriage can happen? If you give any inputs, please reveal the logic step by step, so that those who do not have good ideas like yours, they will also learn. Okay. Meanwhile, since I spoke of moon, the watery planet, let me get some water. Okay.
Sir, I find it a little difficult to sort of figure out which is the first house in the square chart. In the North Indian chart, I get it. So
You want to know house numbers, huh? Okay.
yeah, I can't read this one, the square one.
This one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, the earth is round here. Everything is around it. So it's actually the best way to learn astrology is using this format. Whereas in the North Indian chart, you cannot place the earth anywhere. And planets go like this, continuously. All of them go like this. Which you can't do it in the North Indian chart. So I'm not boasting about myself. I'm telling you that this is the easiest chart. Because in Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram, every laptop across the world used the North Indian format. About 75 astrologers. I convinced them and they changed the format forever. It is now only in this format. That's the only reason why North Indian authors, when they do a book, they will put both the charts side by side. And when a South Indian astrologer writes any book, he will not use the North Indian chart. Because they know the South Indian chart is so appropriate. It is not about South India or North India. It's just to name, just give a name. You can't show like this, how it is going in the North Indian chart. You can't do that.
East India as well. Really.
Huh?
East Indian chart as well. It goes in the
and any other chart. This comes very close to the Western chart where it is perfect round. They'll have a round chart. So that round at least comes closest to this square, this square. Anyway, it's up to you because I know once you get used to something, it's so difficult to give it up. So keep looking at both the charts.
North Indian. I started North Indian and now I'm good with both.
Yeah, okay.
Just practice.
Yeah, only North Indian advantage is that 1, 4, 7, 10 will be all in like in the diamond in the middle. But there is one big difference. Can anybody say what's the big difference in a North Indian and a South Indian chart?
Rashis are all the same.
Numbers.
Numbers. No. She's got the answer. Number. No need write. In
1
South
and
Indian
7
chart,
are opposite each other.
No. In South Indian chart, no need write numbers. You can do it in your mind. But in North Indian, you must write the number. Okay. So you can practice simultaneously both and slowly start using this. Anyway. Which month or what could be the logic of finding the month of marriage? What are the possibilities?
Sir, maybe Magha Masam and Falguna, they are names for the months also.
No, you can say the Indian months here, the Gregorian calendar month if you want. Because our month in the horoscope is only mid of every English month, right?
Is it November and December, sir?
Why is that?
Because in Telugu, the names of the months are Magha and Falguna, and moon is in the Leo sign.
Okay.
So the stars are there, Magha, Pubba, and Uttara Falguni.
Okay.
So the match is there for the months also. The name is matching.
So you're saying the nakshatra will reveal the month of marriage.
It can be the logic, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Did you check it on your own horoscope?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It
Is
matches.
it tally? Oh, tally. Okay.
Yeah. My moon sign is Uttara Falguni and married in December, sir.
How do you connect that to December?
Because here the Falguna Masa is in December, according to the Telugu names, sir. Wait, it's not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, here it states Magha is
February.
November and Falguna is December.
Falguna. What is the Telugu calendar based upon?
It's Chaitram, Vaisakham, Jyeshtam, Ashadam, Shravanam, Bhadrapada. They goes like that, sir.
Okay, then what will be which month will it be? Falguna month?
Here it is December, sir.
What? How can it be Falguna? I don't know.
I think Falgun will fall under February, March. That time.
Yeah, somewhere there only it will be, because
it will be in March, because we celebrate Holi at that time, in Falgun month.
It will be around that side. I think all these month names are based on full moon. So if you have to get Falguna, Uttara Falguni will have full moon in that month of the lunar month. Only then you get the name. So it can't be in December.
Yeah,
you get it?
Yeah.
So there is a difference in the Telugu calendar, because they use the lunar month Pratipad as the beginning. Right? I think they'll wait for the Shukla Paksha Pratipad.
Yeah, Chaitra Pratipada. Yes.
Yeah. So the month, the lunar month is named after, in that month, the day of full moon, whatever star it falls in, the name is created from that. Okay, we'll use the simple ideas like mid-April to mid-June. Mid-May is where Sun is in Aries, exalted. Next month it is in Taurus, and so on. So where do you think the Sun would give marriage?
The question is, the
which month? Okay, which month? Which month the marriage is most likely to happen for this particular horoscope? Okay, before that, I'll take you through another idea. So every month, the sun moves from one side to another, like this. So what is different in a month is only the sun's position. And sun is a surefire indicator of the month. Very regular in its movement, because of the Earth's revolution is so perfect. So sun will always be here between April mid and May mid-May. So mid-May to mid-June it will be here. So when an event happens in a physical, that what we call the solar month, which you can find the equivalent in Gregorian calendar, this seems to be one of the pointers for an event. The day when something happens, the moon is the indicator. Because the moon moves like this, 2.25, 2.25. So this must be the fastest one. So if something happens to you on a date, on a particular day, the pointer will be actually the nakshatra on that day, which is derived from moon's position. So moon is involved with the shorter periods of time. And why this year and not next year or not last year is because of Jupiter. Because Jupiter moves once a year. So when people talk also, they will talk in their units only, in terms of whatever they mean. For example, Jupiter is auspicious. So people, whenever they talk about something, good. They usually talk to it in years. Next year, I'm planning to get married. Next year, I'm planning to purchase a house. Usually, they talk in.
I had a comment.
Yes.
I saw a really good YouTube animation video on how they do solar months, like from as if we are viewing it from the Earth. Then how sun is moving into
the next
different
side.
rashis.
Yeah.
And then the other side, the moon, which sector of nakshatra it is sweeping. So so every solar month has an equivalent like Falguni, that Falgun word, and Savan, Shravan, all these are from the nakshatra names, right? Like what the moon is sweeping that area.
Yeah. So for example, this when the moon is here is obviously full moon, right? Because sun and moon are opposite. So yes, correct or not? Somebody spoke something.
Yes, Guruji. Yes.
Yeah. So when this moon,
sorry.
When the nakshatra in which the moon is during
like
the full
the
month name.
Those who are not contributing, please be on mute. Yes, it's very laborious for me to manually select the speakers. Yeah. Thank you. So this is
Sir, just one comment, or if I try to answer. Seventh Lord being in the eighth, that itself is a little problematic if marriage is there. I mean, we don't know other positions, but if so, if at all, since you asked month, probably it's you're talking about sun's position. So if we exchange seventh Lord and eighth Lord positions there, because seventh Lord is in eighth house here. If when the sun comes to Cancer, it will be probably July or so.
No, you can just say, I want the sun to be here. Maybe in that month, the marriage will happen. Okay.
Yeah. Sun in the...
Yeah. So I'll go back to the previous chart. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say exalted sun, but usually they don't marry when sun is exalted, right?
No, you got to relate it to the individual horoscope. This is a person's horoscope. So I'm just teaching you the technique of timing an event in the month-wise using sun's position, the position of sun. Or this is the same logic with everything else. You got to find a relationship somehow and then match it up. But you'll have to come up with so many points. Obviously, it's not so simple as, for example, every time the sun comes to a particular position, that person is not getting married. I mean, it repeats in the same position. These are not regular events. It's only once in a lifetime event.
Yeah.
I'm just
if
telling.
you place sun in seventh house. Like
okay.
Cancer.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. At least even if it is right or wrong, it's okay, because at least you got a valid point. You're saying that the indicator of the sun, the month, which is the sun definitely moves properly 1 month at a time. So you're saying, okay, for me,
exchange of seventh and eighth Lord.
Yeah, you can come up with ideas like that. So the sun is now in the seventh. So why can't it give marriage? Good point. What if sun is here? Can it give marriage? Technically, yes.
It becomes Amavasya.
Even then, that is not a point. Maybe the marriage is inauspicious. Okay, but it can still cause marriage because the I mean, just to teach you the concept, I'm saying now the seventh, the sun, the month, pointer has a connection with the seventh Lord. Therefore, marriage can happen. But see, now you'll get two. But you can come up with, we'll do some random readings from within the class. You don't have to give the entire chart. You can give just a little bit Lagna and one planetary position. if you want, or if you have some relatives horoscope where you know when marriage happened and you know their horoscope, you can say that. Is it possible here? I mean, at least no connection. Not that it is impossible, it can happen. But there is no connection at least, right? You can't connect it to seventh house or seventh lord in any way. So like that, can you come up with some ideas?
Sir, what is the logic? Sun being in the 8th house, marriage can happen, sir, with moon.
Yeah, what is the logic? Anybody can help her? Anyone? What is the logic why sun, when it is here, also can give marriage? Oh, something wrong with my internet connection?
Now we can hear, sir. Yeah.
Okay. What is the connection, astrological connection, that if sun is here, also marriage can happen?
Seventh Lord sitting in the house with the owner of the house?
Dispositor of seventh Lord.
Oh, use some simple concept. Sun, which usually is a pointer for the month because it moves once a month, it got connected to the seventh Lord. That's all. Just got connected. I told you, use simple ideas. First, always use simple ideas in astrology. It's called move from the general to the specific. So just, if you say, this moon, you can put a tag. I am marriage planet, like that. Marriage graha. You can tag the moon. Maybe somewhere here you can put a board. I am marriage for you. So the sun gets in connection with the marriage.
Okay, sir.
Okay. That's simple. Very simple. But in practical life, as you read horoscope, it won't be that simple. But this is how you develop the logics of transit. Any other idea? Any other suggestion?
Sun in second, sir. Second house. Purnima.
Here, huh?
It's auspicious also.
Okay. The sun in the second. Okay. So the answer is, at least from the correction that I have, this person was born, this person was married between mid-Feb to mid-March. When the sun was here, the marriage happened. Now, since you know the answer, can you tell extra points about it? I mean, actually, this is the answer.
So this is a full moon. So seventh Lord is powerful.
Okay.
The marriage planet is powerful.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Can we say even if the sun is in the ascendant, Guruji? I mean, along with the sun? In the first house?
It could have been. It could have been. But, you know, when events happen, you need to stack up and get more reasons for an event rather than just one answer and one reason. If I place sun in ascendant, you would say, yeah, sun is in ascendant, looks at the seventh house.
Yes,
yeah, therefore you can say that. But I want to tell you something about these, the logics that we're using. Which do you think is more unique, connecting to the house or to the planet concerned?
Planet, sir.
Planet. Can anybody say why? Can anyone say why? Somebody answered planet. Can you justify why planet is more important than the house?
It's a functionality of the planet.
Use a very simple idea. Use a very simple idea in astrology.
Because house ranges for 30 degrees, but planet is one particular degree.
Guruji, may I attempt with a world example, real world example?
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
Like, for example, if a graha is placed in a particular house, it has to perform the duties of that house.
Okay.
So if Graha is related to the 7th house, then it is related to marriage.
Okay.
So, but whereas when you look at the 7th house, it is only the marriage part that is related to the 7th house.
Okay.
Whereas the planet placed in 7th house can be any planet. The Lord of the 7th house can be any Graha, but he will have to perform the functionality of the 7th house.
Yeah, you're very close, but you have not told it in the best way possible.
For example, an official posted in the state government will have to work for the state government.
Okay.
In that particular department.
Okay.
So it's almost similar in a real world scenario.
Slight difference. I mean, you came very close, but I think you didn't express it properly.
Sir, may I attempt, sir?
I mean, almost you gave the answer, but it was not. At the end, it was.
In fact, it becomes a karaka, Guruji. It becomes a karaka of that particular event when it is placed in the house of that event, which signifies that event.
Okay.
He is almost like the guardian of that karaka.
Okay.
So even for that matter, that's the reason why even malefics can become benefic planets because of the duties they have to perform placed in the Kendra or the Kona.
Okay.
So, I mean, giving that example, taking that as an example, we can say we can boil down to the specific Graha itself. So if a Graha is placed in the 1st house, obviously he has to determine the body of the native.
Okay.
The person staying in the rented house is staying for 24 hours. The owner may not.
No, the rental person need not do the duty of what the house is supposed to do, right? He is not bound, but he has to be listening. He has to perform. If he is doing that, the example would be better if we talk about duties.
Oh, functional. Okay.
Yeah, functionalities.
Okay.
So we can also think like house is not a living thing. Planet is a living thing.
That is the answer. That's the answer.
Yes, I missed that point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The house is like pointing at a police station and saying that's the building. But actually, the real agent is not the building. The real agent is always, okay, that's one way of answering. But, I'll tell you one thing. If I use only the house, then all Makar Lagna people must be, almost falling into the same months of marriage. Whereas the 7th Lord in this horoscope, next horoscope, might be anywhere else in the 12 houses. And so it will get more specific if you connect to the planet rather than the Lord. Because if you say, raise your hands, you are Makar Lagna, 1/12 of the world's population raise. But if you ask, I want your 7th Lord to be in this house, then so many houses, so many hands will fall down, will be lowered. Okay. So you have to always give more weightage to that which is more specific because of placement. Where is it? Where is the 7th Lord? See, I go to the police station or I don't know, use the word again and again. I'll use some other thing. I want to go for a chess class. Okay. I go to the office of Kishore. He is not there. So what do I do? Of course, there is something called I'm joining his institute. So I enroll and all that. So I got connected to the house. But I need the agent. I need the teacher. I need the moon. So when the sun came here, the moon became, very bright and happy, full moon. So ultimately, where is the person? Right in the middle. So he gets the sun's, the moon is now very active because of make astrology simple by thinking about it as human beings or actually trying to visualize things. Oh, today full moon, everybody is staring at the sky. It became very active. No moon, nothing to stare into the sky except if you're a stargazer. So the question is, you say how many people are Makar Lagna? That is only 1 out of 12. Whereas how many will have moon here? That is 1 out of 144. Which is to be given more weightage? You can understand from this. Which one will you give more importance? Now 7th house or 7th Lord? I mean, is it confusing to what, is anybody confused about what I'm saying? I know this class is now comprised of advanced students and beginners all together. So right now we are having 54 students. Not that everybody will know the answer, but you can all randomly try some method. So there is, see, for example, this room, if I walk away from here, you're still looking into my house. I'm right now in my bedroom. Okay. But you're not looking at me. So there's no connection. There is a connection because you're looking at my house. You are, therefore, students, you are logged into my Zoom meeting. There is a connection. But the active thing is only with the person. So the correct answer is the Lord is more important. So this is, this is an example taken from my own horoscope. Okay, I'm a Makar Lagna person. I got married when the sun came here. Now, knowing the answer, try to elaborate on this. If you want to ask any questions like, I want to know more, I would give you some information. Okay, fine. Anything else you want to say? This is stronger. The marriage between this and this, which is more strong or stronger? A stronger connection with 7th house.
Sun in
Aquarius.
Sun in Aquarius. The answer? The reason.
7th from 7th Lord.
7th from 7th Lord is one. And the 7th house gets all the planets. Any planet 7th from Sun is full of light. Prakasha. Illuminated. Any outer planet, when it comes there, it will become retrograde. And retrograde planets, are very strong. Okay. So if Jupiter was there in place of Moon, it will be full Jupiter. So even the other graphs are also having these things, but we don't notice it at all.
So why are retrograde planets strong? Sorry, I'm asking a very stupid question.
Why do you say it's a stupid question?
Because this is too high-tech for me right now. So I'm guessing I'm like below the ground right now.
I don't know the answer actually, but I know it is a statement made by Maharishi Parashara, who says retrograde planets are very strong. Always, whenever the light is more, it is strong. That is the logic that Amavasya is the weakest moon, new moon, and because there is no light, and full moon is the strongest moon. Okay. When you're not speaking, please be on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing.
Yeah.
Sir, I just have one point. Actually, like this sun in Kumbha, it's everyone gets married because there is a Muhurta. So it happens only in specific months. So is it like to say that sun is here, that is why I'm getting, because if there is no Muhurta, then wherever sun is, you won't get married.
Are you sure everybody in the world is looking into Muhurta and getting married?
Mostly it happens like that.
I will tell you the truth about it. I will tell you the truth about it. 95% of Hindus don't believe in astrology.
But at least for the scare, because they are scared, they might follow Muhurta, if not.
Nowadays,
many of them do not believe in astrology, but they will definitely go and check for muhurtas for auspicious events, sir.
You think so?
Many of them don't believe, sir. Still they go.
They will go, but the marriage hall won't be available and they will go for another date. The marriage hall people decide when the marriage happens.
Some people manipulate pandits by giving extra money and change the time.
No, the point is, we are using another logic. It's because Muhurta month is there, therefore the person gets married. It's the other way around, right? When the sun came here, the marriage happened. It happened to be Muhurta. Because as he pointed, this month is special for marriage.
Sir, but every month will have some Muhurta dates.
Huh? Every month will have Yeah, if you use the strict rules of Muhurta, every month has Muhurta dates, correct?
For marriage. For
Yeah.
But Guruji, you're not supposed to get married during Agni Nakshatra.
Yeah, we have some exceptions here and there, stars, some people, community, everything changes. It's not like we don't have any uniform system in this. In Tamil Nadu, in certain months, they'll never get married, but that is not followed in North India and so on. Okay, let's not get into all that. Now, which of this is stronger and what is the logic that you're using? You want to say that every time the sun comes here, I'll get married. So to eliminate that, what are the other questions you need to ask? Every February, I'll get married. Every year. So what are the other questions you should ask?
Where is
Jupiter transiting?
Huh?
Where is Jupiter transiting?
Dasha Bhakti.
Age of the person, whether he is married or not.
There are two questions, Guruji. One is the Dasha Bhukti of the 2nd and the 7th Lord. And the other point is, where is Venus connected with the chart, in the chart? Not only in the chart, but also in the Dasha Bhukti.
Another point is whether the 7th Lord is getting connected with the ascendant during transit.
7th Lord is getting connected to the ascendant. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, also, do we need to see Navamansh chart, D9 chart also? The placement of 7th Lord in D9 chart?
Yeah, definitely. As many rules as you know, that much better it gets. There are so many other rules to follow. But simple ideas, don't make it complicated, though we can complicate it at a later stage. Because in tomorrow's, the group that you are having, BSPA students, we will take it to the next level. But for beginners, we will keep it very simple, because if somebody is asking you, I'm sure by now, many people must be asking you some doubts in astrology. So the best way possible is to start from the simplest ideas. Make it simple. What would be the most important thing? Okay, I'll give you the clue. Transit keeps repeating. What does not repeat in our lives?
Dasha Bhukti.
Age.
Dasha Bhukti. Dasha Antardasha. I think the universal name is Antardasha. In South India, Tamil Nadu, etc., we call it Bhukti. Okay, it's okay if people know the word Bhukti. Antardasha. Dasha, major period, minor period. Okay. So this is a standard unit of time in astrology, especially Vimshottari Dasha is very the most popular Dasha system. So it has to be a Dasha, Antardasha event only. So what are the questions you will ask to answer this question? To get the answer? You can ask any question. Because one Dasha and one Antardasha will come only once in a lifetime. The planetary period will come only once in your lifetime. It never comes back again. Maybe the contributors, the planets may come back again and again as Antardasha, but the mix won't come back again. You only go through a particular like Shani Dasa, Rahu Antardasha only once in a lifetime. You may go through Rahu Shani at some other time. That's quite different. Remember the case where Dr. B.V. Raman, while he was reading a chart of a child, he said, this person's health will be in trouble. He hinted at longevity, lifespan. In Shani Dasa, Rahu Antardasha, Saturn Rahu. And when questioned, he said, there's a close, might go through danger to life. But what happened was the boy passed away in Rahu Dasha, Saturn Antardasha. Just the mix-up changed. The order of Dasha and Antardasha changed, but the planets were the same. He said Shani Rahu, and the event happened in Rahu Shani. Rahu Shani comes much before Shani Rahu, because after Rahu, there is an entire Guru Mahadasha in between. So when you talk about one planet, at least Antardasha, it can repeat but the Dasha, if you keep it at the top, that won't repeat again. It will never repeat. So Dasha and Antardasha is the most unique thing about you. Why are you so different at certain times? Why somebody who never became the chief minister becomes a chief minister after crossing, getting into advanced stage, never got a chance because waiting for a particular Dasha. So that is different. So please don't think that transits are bigger than Dasha and Antardasha. It will never be. It's never. But transit seems to be that the best word to describe transit is, it is a trigger. But for the trigger, there must be the bullet. You need to have everything in place. Otherwise, you press the trigger, nothing will come. So event should be also there. You want to ask any questions? I want to know this. I want to know this.
When is the Saturn Dasha, Guruji, for this native?
Huh?
When is the Saturn Dasha for this native? Is he having Saturn Dasha?
Yeah, it's my horoscope. I told you, no?
Oh, okay. So it would be mostly during Saturn Dasha and the
Saturn Dasha came to this person in from 56 year onwards, age 56.
Then we have to go to the 7th Lord Dasha, 2nd Lord Dasha.
That's all? Only Lord is enough?
No, 2nd Lord is once again Saturn. Sorry.
Okay.
So we go with the 7th Lord, 5th Lord.
Okay.
Well, I would say likely Sun Dasha.
Sun Dasha.
Yes.
I was born in Sun Dasha. My first Dasha for 4 years was the Sun Mahadasha.
The Rahu moon, sir.
Huh?
Sir, it has to be Rahu Dasha, sir.
Rahu moon.
What is that based upon? I mean, if you say it has to be Rahu Dasha, you are cheating because there is no there is no logic to it.
Sir, no, sir. If your Shani Dasha started when you were 56.
No, that's what you're using common sense. That's
Yeah.
not the way in astrology. You never should use common sense. For an active politician, when you become CM, you will only say some age using common sense. But somebody is becoming when you're 70 years old. Okay. What should have been the question? If you wanted to ask, okay, even if you had said Rahu, what should you have asked?
When is the Jupiter Antardasha comes?
Why? No, let's follow the student's argument that she's guessing that it should have been Rahu using common sense. Because I told her that I was born in Sun Mahadasha. So she says she knows 6 years and then add up. The marriage age must come in Rahu. So what should have been your question?
Is Rahu on 1/7 axis in Navam, sir?
Why so complicated? Make it simple.
D1.
Yeah. Why don't you ask a question about D1?
So where is the Rahu, sir?
That's
Rahu
all. This is the question this is the question that I'm waiting for. As soon as the student said, by common sense, I think you must have got married in Rahu Dasha. It's correct. You must use common sense. Who said we shouldn't use? Okay, we should.
Rahu is the co-lord of the 2nd house.
Rahu is the owner of the 2nd house. Very good. Nice point. And you have to ask, where is my Rahu? Right? Then I will place Rahu in the 7th house. Okay. Now, this is not the position. This is Sun is only in the transit. So transit, I'll keep it outside. And the marriage happened. So Rahu is in the 7th. Now you are not dependent on common sense. You started with common sense and then you say you must have been married in Rahu because Rahu is occupant of 7th house. What is one of the nicknames? What is one of the nicknames of Rahu?
Desire.
Saturn.
Nickname of Rahu.
Give a hint.
Like Saturn.
Rahu
is bhogi, materialistic.
Magician.
Maya.
If you write Maya 3 times, Yama will be there in between. Okay. if you write like this.
Yes, sir.
You can see Yama in between.
That is Saturn. Yeah.
So the death comes in between many mayas. Okay. So, why in Rahu Mahadasha? It is because Rahu is in the 7th. Somebody added it is also second lord.
That not only that, sir, Rahu is under the influence of moon, so the dispositor is moon.
Rahu's dispositor is the moon. Okay. So because it's already in the 7th house, right? We know it is in the 7th. So that's the same redundant point.
Divorced by that logic.
Huh?
You should have also gotten divorced because I'm also Rahu in the 7th. I'm ending my dasha and I'm not married.
If you want me to divorce, I'll do it.
No. But Rahu, people with Rahu in the 7th usually get divorced. So I don't know if you got or not.
Get married
It's not the
Rahu
case
moon,
every time.
Rahu dasha moon antardasha.
So what is the Antardasha?
Huh?
So what is the Antardasha? Rahu is the Mahadasha. So
Okay. Try to guess, but it's not so easy.
5th Lord Dasha, Guruji.
Rahu Jupiter?
Rahu moon or Rahu Venus, maybe.
Yeah, Venus. Moon, he would
Venus
have gone
being
mad.
Venus being the 5th Lord and the Karaka for marriage.
Sir, is your Uttarashada like Makara or Uttarashada in
What?
Were you
Sir,
like
Uttarashada
Luni during
Nakshatra is in
sorry.
Dhanur Rashi or Makara Rashi? Sir?
The ascendant is in Makara, no? Why are you asking Dhanush?
No, just for the moon. Like where
Moon you want to read. It's
you
not,
told you started with
it's not Uttarashada, Uttara Falguni.
Uttarapal.
Uttara Falguni, first pada alone is in Simha Rashi. This is a Rashi chart. And the Bhava chart also there in the same place. So that's why I didn't give you the Bhava chart. So the moon is in Uttara Falguni first pada if it has to be in Simha Rashi. I hope by now all of you got the star map in mind.
Guruji, I have a question. In your life, like you started off with one particular path and then you took a U-turn and did something else.
Why?
Did that happen?
But why?
No, I'm saying, did that happen?
No, if you say the reason, I'll tell you.
Okay, because they say when the moon is in the 8th house, the person, what they do is, they were doing something in their past life and they died they did not finish it. And so in this life, they are going to continue that. So they may go in one path, but then they will stop and they will do whatever they have left off, something like that.
Okay.
For example, there's this big Mahan, Swamiji. So he also had moon in the 8th house. And he was supposed to be a Sankaracharya. He stops that and then he becomes a Rajaguru. He creates a kingdom. And when he creates it, he's looking at this Prashna. But how, like, for example, there'll be this rabbit which will beat a wolf. And that was the time when the Mughals were all, invading. And so he sees that and he believes like, wait, if a rabbit can beat an wolf, so this is a very good place to start. So he brings 2 warriors and then he starts this kingdom and then many things happen. And then he again later becomes a Sankaracharya. So, but he had the moon in the 8th and that was the story. So,
Sir, moon in 8th, people also say they fell at 6 years, they fell from a height.
Fell from a height.
Like little bit height. Might be like from some height place. 6th year.
Well, let's not deviate. I'll come back to my house very number of times.
Yeah,
I can
coming
come
back to your topic,
was
it Saturn, Bhakti?
No, it's okay. You see, we are not looking at the exact answer. At least a logic you can use.
Yeah, the logic I was using was this second house owner.
Okay.
As well as I was also, in a way, thinking of Prahlad's 8th from Rahu.
Okay.
It will deprive you of something, right? It deprived you of your bachelorhood.
I see.
Sir, also.
Sir, why are we connecting second lord to marriage here, sir? What
Anybody wants to answer?
Kutumbasthana.
Kutumba. Marriage is a Kutumba matter. Expansion of. That's why people are having Saturn the second find it difficult to get married, because Saturn is a limiting planet, restricting planet. So it will try to restrict everything of the second house. Second house is a kind of an asset, a building up, adding to the family, more children.
The rich people, right?
Huh?
Second house Saturn are rich kids, like humans.
Sir, I was thinking in this chart, and thank you for clarifying. In this chart, I thought the reason you put second house, I mean, we're looking at second house, it's because it's 7th from the moon.
Okay.
Is that correct? Or
One of the
point.
Yeah, one of the point.
Okay, thank you, sir.
The second house gains some prominence there. Okay, now, if you want, now you look at the sun, and sun could have been here or here, anywhere in this 30 degrees. Which do you think is more possibly, you try to guess, where maybe if it was in Dhanishta, the marriage would have happened, or in Satabhisha, marriage would have happened, or in Pura Bhadrapada, when the sun came, which is Jupiter Nakshatra, the marriage happened. Of this, which one you think is more appropriate? At least astrologically.
The exact degree in which Lagna is located.
Satabhisha, Guruji.
Last 6 degree, Guruji, because it will be opposite to moon, exactly.
Okay.
Satabhisha Nakshatra.
Why? Satabhisha?
Rahu rule Nakshatra.
Okay, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. I got married in Rahu when it went over Satabhisha. Very good. Okay.
So, whenever possible, can you please share how you felt during Rahu moon? Were you sane?
See, whenever you describe an event in a person's life, you cannot describe just because you know the dasha and antardasha. You cannot understand life like that. So Varahamira writes that what is not possible in a person's experience will not come in any antardasha or dasha, or will never happen in any transit. You understand? For example, a beggar on the street you're seeing, he's been there for 40 years. Which dasha and antardasha he will come out of that? Which transit he will come out of that? So without knowing the overall view of a horoscope, you cannot make any statement. You cannot. If you try that, you will make mistakes. Of course, you can always read out the dasha and antardasha and say, something bad may have happened in Rahu moon, but you cannot equate it with somebody's experience and said that I went through this, therefore you must have also gone through the same. The same COVID, for some people, didn't do anything. The extremely fit people have died within 3 days. Those who are drunkards and smokers have made it out clean. Many of them, many of my friends. Teetotalers, fitness, gym, died very quickly. Sometimes it was opposite also. The strong and the fit made out also. So there's no logic at all. You cannot generalize anything. If you want to make a statement, it has to be specific to the horoscope. You can never make a general statement. Of course, Rahu moon is capable of making people see nightmares. But For the nightmare, there should be a permission by the overall chart. So the sun in Satabisha, when does it come? Can anybody do it in the mind, roughly? Without any software?
February, sir.
Yeah, it is in February indeed, because mid-Feb to mid-March is when sun will go through this Kumbha. But in Satabisha, when will it come? How do you do it in the mind? Anyone can teach others how you do it in the mind? The logic is very simple. The sun moves roughly 1 degree per day. That's all you need to know. Because there are 360 degrees in the sky, it's slightly more than a degree. And gets adjusted because of February 29th in leap year. You can keep a general rule. You can say sun moves 1 degree per day. So when will the sun come to Aquarius?
21st. Sorry, Satabisha 21st.
21st. Okay. Or something like that. Very close. So you have to do some, like you simply want to generalize it, okay, mid of every month. But actually Kumbha will start earlier than mid. It's because Grahas move faster in this side. So the month also will be ahead. When it starts before, it will be usually hovering over 13th, somewhere centered around 13th instead of even 15. In some months, it won't be 15, it will be 17. So it will get adjusted like that because the sun takes slightly, it won't be uniform. Though we did a general method, 1 degree per month, it won't be exactly like that. So if you want to make it rough, approximate, mid, you say, and then add six days from there, that's enough. Because Dhanishta is only 6 degrees. So this is why I said in the beginning, even in a beginner's class, please memorize the star map, right? How many of you are very confident? I hope you are all confident with the star map. Can actually visualize at what point Dhanishta ends. Dhanishta ends at 6:40, 6 degrees 40 minutes. So 6 days after mid-Feb is when I got married. Okay, that's all, something like that. Now you will say, like student Anand Bhatt, it is because of Muhurta. Actually, the karma will decide when it has to happen, and the astrologers who give you the Muhurta will play along with the karma. It's not the other way around. It's not that they create. If astrologers create events, who is God? Astrologers are gods then. They are the creators of destiny. Astrologers say, I only created the marriage. Based upon planetary positions, they will give you the date. There are other reasons actually. They are very complex in nature. Because that year, March was the last date as indicated in the horoscope of my wife for marriage. She has to get married before March, according to her Navamsha rule. So things were rushed up just to meet that. So who is rushing it up? Karma rushes it up. So events will actually happen like that. But from our point of view, we will say, no, it's because your father met your father-in-law and forced him to do the marriage in February itself. So all that you think is human effort sometimes may not be human effort. It will be part of karma. Where do you expect Jupiter to be? Any suggestion? Even if we make a mistake, no issues. Huh?
Looking at the 7th house.
Looking at the 7th house. How can you look at the 7th house from where?
Aries.
Capricorn.
You want Jupiter to be in Capricorn. How many of you want it in Capricorn? or here, or here, or here, or here. Which one do you think is more appropriate? Okay.
So probably Aries, sir.
Aries. Can you say why?
Looking at 7th Lord.
Looking at 7th Lord. Now you're slowly getting the pulse. Okay. So I was married when Jupiter was there. And not before. But actually it could have been here also, right? Here also. If it was here, you will say it is looking at the 7th house. But here the question is, the Lord is more important, as I told you before. So when Jupiter crossed over, at this point, it became very sensitive. There are more rules to be followed, but this is just simple. Where do you think Saturn must have been?
Sir, one question here, sir. Jupiter was aspecting the 7th Lord, but what if the 7th Lord itself is Jupiter?
Then Jupiter's position will still have to connect to the 7th Lord. Okay. So the transit, see, you say that the 7th Lord is a Guru, but the transit, Jupiter will be all over the place, right? So it will have to connect back to Jupiter. You don't know difference there. It's just that whoever is the 7th Lord, if Jupiter looks, it is time for marriage. Have you understood or not?
Sir, must it happen, sir? The Jupiter
Sir, in the transit, it must be aspecting the 7th house. You mean to say if Jupiter is the 7th
Now,
Lord?
the rule for all this is only the rules for happy marriage, successful marriage. The more connections you have, it is called fated marriage. And most probably when Jupiter is involved, it will be successful. If Saturn is involved, it will be a little unsuccessful sometimes, only Saturn. It could be on the negative side. So when marriage happens, when you say marriage is happening, you justify the marriage, but the success and failure of the marriage, the whatever marriage happened, that is not dependent on these things. Only the marriage trigger point is this transit. The quality is only from the overall horoscope, whether you are having a happy marriage combination or not. Okay.
So your Saturn was either in Makara or Kumbha, I guess.
Makara or Kumbha. Now there is a practical problem here. You can't have it anywhere you like because time, Jupiter transit.
How I guessed was, sir, actually like your Jupiter was in Capricorn in your horoscope. So it came there, which means like it is 33 years. So by 33 years, then again Saturn would have come to Kumbha or Makara.
So you're saying I was married 33 years back. Oh no, how many years? Where is Jupiter now?
30.
It is almost in the same.
Sir, like when you when you got married, it was you told it is in either Meena or Mesha, which means like approximately 33 years. Sorry, 24. Sorry.
It will be multiples of 12, right? 12, 12, 12.
Sir,
like that. Yeah.
27.
What is the Antardasha, sir, at the time of your marriage?
Antardasha, that's what we'll try to guess. Okay. See, but this class was mainly for simple ideas in transits. Okay, to connect and try to. But the more connections you have in transit and even the dasha and antardasha, you can be sure about the success part of the marriage. Okay. Was it fated? Was it in good times? Or did it happen in bad times? The quality of an event is always determined by what it reveals from the overall horoscope and the dasha and antardasha. And now I'm removing the sun because now you know the sun is here in transit when the event happened. So I'll put back all the grahas. Okay. Oh no, 1 minute. Saturn should have been where? It could have been somewhere here only, in these two places. in this corner. Okay. Can you connect Saturn to Moon? Can you connect Saturn to Moon? Anyway, can you connect this Saturn to my Moon?
So if Saturn is just at the starting point in Magha, then 10th aspect almost reaches the moon.
So because my moon was cat on the wall, you can imagine it is over here. Can you see this? This is the simplest way to do it in the mind. You can imagine as though my moon is almost like this at the edge. So you think it is here for simplicity. Now you know Saturn looks at the 10th from itself. Okay.
If Saturn is in Magha, first pada or second pada.
No, not Maka. You're getting it wrong. It's Mula or Purvashada or Uttarashada.
Oh, sorry, Mula, not
Yeah,
Magha, Mula.
Yeah. So at one point, whatever K.N. Rao keeps repeating, that Jupiter and Saturn together may be connected to the seventh house during marriage. It worked exactly. So the more rules you find like this matching, which is not so easy because you can't, marriage comes at a particular age where you can't wait for these transits. No parent is going to wait for such things. It's not possible practically, but karma, if it arranges it in such a way that it happens, it's just past life good luck that when these planets come into the right position, the marriage happens. Like this, you can come up with ideas.
Sir, I have just heard one thing, sir. Like if no planets are in fiery sign, or if no planets are connected to this Kritika Nakshatra, then the marriage, like it's kind of cold marriage. The fire ritual does not take place. Is it like
no fire?
No fire, basically. If no planet is in Agni Tattva Rashi, and it is not either connected to Kritika Nakshatra also,
okay,
then the fire ritual does not take place. Like court marriage.
Anand, but see, we are, though we can get personal in our life about Hinduism or the Indian mentalities, we are looking at astrology as a universal science. So we have to look at it across the world. Okay, in how many cultures do we have a fire ritual? So always ask some questions like that to make it more scientific. But we know, like for example, Brihad Jataka, Varamira wrote about the wicks in the lamp when a person is born, right? But now there aren't any wicks. So it's only that depending upon your environment, you notice a pattern. Maybe you're right. If you do a study on Hindu marriages, and then you want to try to connect to the to Kritika, nakshatra or something, and you say there's no fire ritual, I mean, that could be somewhat. As a scholar, these things are very good, but in practical astrology, these aren't very useful tips. Because the entire community, there is an entire religion where they never use a lamp or a fire. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we have to beware of that. And they are much larger in numbers than Hindus. So it may not be true. Anyway, that's okay. That's a smaller point. So if you want to get additional hints, you should use the Navamsha. For example, this is my ascendant in Navamsha. Why am I using this? Okay. This is the ascendant and Jupiter is here. Even before I got this call, My daughter called me. 3 seconds before she called me, I felt like she was knocking on the door, but she's not anywhere near. She's about 5 kilometers away. Okay. So can you say something about this Jupiter?
Exalted in the second.
This is
second house.
Navamsha. Okay, this is Navamsha. D9. Sorry, it's not the correct. Yeah, D9.
So that means your ascendant or
seventh
Jupiter
lord
are
is-
both are in
Your seventh
Ravana
lord is
Nakshatra,
exalted in
Pada
the
3 and
second
Pada
house.
4.
Oh, what did he say?
Sir, what I was saying is like your Lagna and Jupiter are very close to each other, like Ravana Pada 3 and Pada 4.
Yeah.
So Jupiter will have great impact. And that too,
Guruji,
Vargottama.
where is moon in your D9, Guruji?
Sorry, not.
Uttara Falguni first Pada. You know, the first Pada of the sun will always be here in D9. I hope you've gone through my beginner session. Most of you have gone through. You know the formula, right? So in the Navamsha, you can only have for 3 stars here in this corner. It can't be anywhere else.
Jupiter is
Sir, this shows a wonderful marriage because the seventh lord is exalted in the second house and the second lord is in the seventh house.
Thank you. So now Jupiter becomes...
has gone 7th from itself.
So now Anand Bhatt found out that my ascendant is very close to Jupiter. How did he do that? Everybody knows, I think, right? Without giving the degrees, how did he do it? Some of the beginner students are in this batch right now, those who have done the beginner's course. In case you want to see it again, on YouTube, you can go and watch, I think somewhere session 7 or 8, somewhere around that, I should have done how to do the Navamsha. So noticing that ascendant and Jupiter were together in Makara, and he found that it is in Gemini and Jupiter. So he knows the distance is very short. It must be very close to each other. So even while in school, though I was not a good student, within quotes, a good student, I was always teaching others. I did that throughout. In my gym, I was teaching people. In chess, I was teaching people. In karate or anything with martial arts, I was teaching people. I was teaching people a lot of things. I taught many people how to drive. And many of them, very poor people who became drivers today. And some of them, one of them was so, so emotional that he's kept my photo in the hall and he's praying to me every day, it seems. Because when I was 11 years or 12 years itself, I started teaching others how to drive. Then at NIIT, when I was learning itself, the teachers told you conduct the rest of the class. I'm going out to smoke. And that happened in my BSc and MSc as well. So the Jupiter's thing was so strong. And Jupiter is exalted in Navamsha. What does that mean? So Jupiter becomes a prime planet for marriage. So if you go back to the previous thing, the Dasha of Rahu, the Antardasha of Jupiter gave me the marriage. And by now you know my horoscope. It's so easy to remember. And so boring also, that you have to place all of them in one place. Is it not boring?
Which is the lowest degree, sir, among that?
It is actually easy, Guruji. You don't need to go scrambling all over the chart to place.
That's all. This is my horoscope.
So which is the lowest degree, sir?
Mars.
That,
Can you guess what would be the highest degree? Which planet?
Mercury.
Why?
Atmakaraka.
All of you are trying to beat me at astrology, is it? Mercury is the one which is the most advanced. And therefore, because of that, Mercury came here to exaltation in my D9. My sun, the sun in my horoscope is here, and Mars is here.
Vargottama.
So 4 planets are exalted in my D9 chart. So one of the special things about my own horoscope is, just because it is special, it made me an astrologer. I wanted to figure out why other astrologers are not able to talk about my horoscope. One of the reasons. That was not the main reason, of course. How to find which Antardasha will give marriage? Yes, Kashi? Somebody...
You seem to be so polite, sir, but your Mars is in my Sun Nakshatra, that too fiery Nakshatra. Exalted.
You're surprised.
That shows that he is dynamic.
It's in Uttarashada second pada, right, sir? Mars?
Uttarashada second pada, correct. Always, when you have an opinion about a condition, you must first make the statement and then say, it was indicated, maybe you changed, you conquered that. That's the best way to use astrology, because then you will get consistent results. Suppose you read for somebody else, you should say, I know you must be a very, maybe very physical, or, you could have been in so many activities. Okay. I'll come to that later. Okay. So now the point is, if this is a situation, if you want to know the Dashanath will become like an ascendant. This is a simple idea. So the ascendant will now be Cancer in Rahu Dasha. You have to think like that. So temporarily, like you can draw this in your mind and put a line across in my Rahu Dasha. I will treat this as my Lagna. And then, or even if you don't want to, complicate it like this, you simply say from Dashanath, planets in the 7th can give marriage. But how do you answer this question? You have so many people in the 7th. Then you will say, oh, Rahu Shani, you could have got married. Rahu Venus, you could have got married. Rahu Mercury, you could have. How do you eliminate which are, see, like in Oscar or, Grammy Awards, they'll first have nominees, and the nominees are, 5 people. Then they'll give a surprise. Oh, this guy is won the first, he's won the Oscar or the Grammy Award. Same approach only in astrology also. It's not so simple as you think, because everybody will be trying to, influence the event, because they're all on the 1-7 axis. They're all capable of.
Because Jupiter is close to ascendant and giving full aspect on the 7th.
Exactly. That's the answer. That's the answer. That's the main answer. The planet closest to the Lagna degree will give the marriage, because if you say 7th is marriage or spouse, the spouse's spouse is who? Me, Lagna. So the 1-7 axis is the most appropriate axis to study for marriage. The 1-7. Got it?
Not only that, sir, in D9, the 7th Lord is Jupiter.
Good. You got an additional
I was going
point.
to say that.
Yeah.
Sir, I was going to say that for when you asked that question about the Antardasha, I would say in D9, because Jupiter, who is the 7th Lord, is sitting in the 2nd house, it must have been Jupiter.
Yeah, best way to protect your copyright is that in the chat, you could have typed out immediately as soon as it occurred to your mind. Then you can say, I told it before her.
That's okay, sir. Just an addition.
Yeah. No, but the universe knows you found the answer, right? Doesn't matter whether you told it or not. You know the answer. So can you say something else about Jupiter? A little one nice point about the Jupiter. Of course, you gave enough points. Okay. Which one do you think? Okay, I want to tell you one thing. Whatever we are doing here can be, in programming or Excel sheet, you create a formula and copy paste it and change the value there. You get the new values here. Like this is an approach. I see. It's not about my horoscope. I'm just one out of the 8 billion people in this world. I mean, it's not at 8 billion. It's going towards 8 billion. I don't think it'll ever cross 8 billion. Somehow it will be restricted after that. Out of this, I'm just one. So it doesn't make me any unique. Okay. But whatever system, whatever knowledge that we're gaining from this study, just replace the word top, marriage, you put anything else there. Anything else. It's same ideas will be there. But it takes a little practice to do this. And you don't have enough time to do this. Somebody will come and ask you what this. There are people who come, like in those days when I was doing free consultation, one book will have 15 horoscopes. Next, like that. I know an astrologer who used to look at 3 horoscopes in a minute. 1 minute. Which means people are not interested in going into the in-depth. Dr. Soumya is aghast. You know why? Because he doesn't charge a fee. And so there'll be a crowd because it is free consultation. Always there'll be 100 people waiting outside. So they'll rush in and say, next. So when you don't have enough time, definitely you cannot do justice. Okay, can anybody say a little one more point? I think it is already answered. Somebody did answer, but you didn't connect it to that point.
So Jupiter in Trivona Nakshatra, so it connected to 7th Lord.
Very good. Fantastic. That was the answer, final answer we are looking for. Well, Murugan. Okay. So this idea of Nakshatra connection was always there, and people thought it was an invention by KP system. It was not KP system. KP system is slightly different because it derived a different idea altogether, but it still used a star map eventually. So
can you please elaborate this point, sir?
Yeah, that is in this particular place where in Makara, where I'm going to encircle that with this one. In this place, there are 3 nakshatras. There is a Uttarashada, which is sun. The next one of 13 degrees 20 minutes belongs to the moon. That portion is called Shravana or Tiruvonam in Tamil Nadu. Even in Malayalam, I think, yeah, correct, Tiruvonam. So we'll use Shravana. Shravana is there. After that, there is a Dhanishta or Avitam. In Shravana, Guru is there. So Guru got one more reason that Guru is occupying that nakshatra,
to the 7th
which
Lord.
is the moon, and therefore that moon is in the 7th house.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
There is one more very big point, sir. In D9, 7th Lord and 2nd Lord is exchanged.
Yeah, you got that. That's what I think that was covered, right? Somebody mentioned that. That in my Navamsha they got exchange and so on. There are several things like this. But, when you don't know the answer, it won't appear so easily. It's like our Prahlad and Kishore, they both gurus of chess. So when you play the game, it is one. But when you analyze a chess game, it's totally something else. You don't have emotions in it. You're not bothered. Whereas when you're actually playing, it's something different. So you'll have 2 different things with the same thing, your mindset. Or if you're reading your own chart, how will you do it? How you're reading your family members' horoscopes, how do you look at it? It won't be the same. There'll be some subjectiveness in it. Then suppose, nowadays when people consult me, when the child is 10 years, I'll say the marriage is going to get delayed beyond 30 because of 7th house afflictions or malefics. No, sir, please don't tell like that. It'll be too late. So it's like, it will become subjective to some extent. But if you are looking at timing, you might sometimes not all events will you'll be able to explain like this. Especially marriage is a personal topic. It will be very difficult to explain certain things. I think it happens so many times to me in my consultation, and I know that the marriage experience was already over, and so I find it difficult to say that to the clients because they might come with the parents, and then we'll say, "Oh, when do you want to? When is the time for marriage?" It won't work according to astrology, because the marriage time is already over and they became man and wife in that period itself. This is some confusing area in astrology, but for all practical purpose, why did I teach you this today is you replace, this is D9 for marriage. If you're using career predictions, you go to D10. If you're using children predictions, you go to D7, Saptamsa. So depending upon that, you try to go to the respective divisional charts and try to pick up some extra information. It'd be very interesting to know how much of our life is predestined. Though we have so much Ichcha Shakti, it is not so. For example, I was working in NIT. I had no plans to get married. But when I came, because of the karmic, the development that was happening, my dad said, "You're getting married. We are going to look out for a girl." So I normally understand that it will take years. And he said, "We are going to see somebody within a month." So I went there and it was fixed immediately. That's all. It was fixed in 5 minutes, and the marriage happened in 3 months. So sometimes it will be so quick also because
Sir, that is because your seventh lord is in the 8th house, which is for sudden events.
Okay, yeah, sudden, yeah. Seventh lord in the 8th.
So going by the same logic, can we also use it like during the dasha of a planet which is placed in the planet ruling the 10th house, some career event will be triggered?
Yeah, that's what. See, once you master one timing this properly. So I used my own chart because I know it very well. And you are all, you can also, have discussions amongst yourself, share, information. If you don't want your own horoscope to be discussed, you can use other people's horoscope or public in the public domain horoscopes when they got married. But then the problem is if it has ended in a divorce, it may not tally so well. Okay, so if it is successful, it seems to be all set up properly because it is a long-term event. And but for all practical purpose, if you want to say when only is the marriage, you can use it without looking into deeper and going into the future, how long it is going to last and all that. You don't have to worry about. It's only the question is when. So for the when, you replace any word there, any topic. When foreign trip. For foreign trip, which house? Foreign trip for what? For settling down. Which are the houses that will be the most important ones?
12th house.
12th house. Good. Anything else in a slightly from that?
4th house.
I managed 4th house.
See, one thing about is, suppose...
They had 9th, 12th.
Okay, 3, 9, 12. These are all additional points. See, suppose you use the techniques that I told you in the horoscope of a person who never got married. What will be your explanation? Who never got married. I know a man who's 85, never got married. He's holding a very important position in India. He never got married. So what will you do? Transit, no connection with 7th house, 7th lord. So what is important here? When will my job change? When will I have improvement? He's no job at all in the first place. 25 years jobless. I know people like that who are living on their wife's income or parents' income. No job, simply loitering around, going to clubs, drinking, coming home. How do you handle that?
Promise of event in
see, what I'm trying to say is, you will have to first ascertain whether the event itself is indicated. Without getting a hang of that, or maybe sometimes the person they themselves will give you the clue, then you don't have to break your head on it. If people come to you for their daughter or son, and the child is 30 years, the person is now 30 years, you know for sure that they are looking seriously into marriage. That time you can use. Sometimes you can see some combinations for no marriage also, in which case you'll have to warn the person. He or she is on the border of... How do people remain unmarried? Or what is the technology they use to remain unmarried? Or what is the sequence of events that happens for people who never get married? Can anybody guess?
They keep postponing.
Postponing. Somebody said postponing. No. Somebody said postponing. That's all. How it gets postponed, that's a different issue. Not now, not now, not now. And what happens with that postponing?
More and more you postpone, you will reach a certain age where beyond that it becomes very difficult.
Why? Why does it become very difficult?
Because the pool of available people will become less.
Exactly. The available, that what you call the pool of this, this people will diminish because they find their own partners and move away. So availability. Correct? So the working mechanism of no marriage is, first, there are many reasons for it. One, subconscious memory of past life where they did some big mess up with marriage and they know subconsciously that I'm heading for a serious troubled marriage. And they know that. So they're afraid of it, afraid of the future spouse. What if my spouse is going to beat me up every day? What if I...
Or they are too selective, sir.
Huh?
They are too selective, maybe.
That's what. They will find their own methods to delay. I want a person like this. I want the person to be like Aishwarya Rai. I want the person to be earning very well. So many conditions. I want the person to be in USA itself because I'm in USA. Then I have to, that person should be a Brahmin and should be this, should be that. All reasons to delay because you're adding more conditions. Already astrology itself will be, imposing some conditions on you through karma. And on top of, so when when there is a indication not to get married, the person themselves will cooperate with how to make it happen. How to make it not happen. So they will have their own method.
Karma anusarini.
Yeah, buddhi karma anusarini, that rule will be working. And they will say, no. And they will go on with from one astrologer to another. Why my marriage is not happening? Why my marriage is not happening? The parents will go and ask. Poor things. Whereas meanwhile, our guy will be comparing A, B, C, D and imagining a lot of things and looking for the idea. So which is the best phone? Which is the best phone right now? Which is the best laptop now? God knows.
Whichever I am using, that's what we have to say.
That's all. So you will say your husband is the best person in this world, right? That's all.
That's all.
Nothing else. So you can't. Whereas before marriage, they'll come up with a lot of stories. And they'll also be, these people will look at the world and pick up the wrong examples. 3 of my friends went through hell in marriage. So I'm very, cautious. I'm scared. What if the person will do this? What if she takes away half my wealth? In certain countries, divorce is a very expensive thing. So don't want to get married. All this comes from past life, subconscious memory, fear of. But some people know how to rectify it by themselves based upon Jupiter's position. If Jupiter in this life is in maybe 159, especially first house, they will find their own mechanisms, the remedies, it will come to their mind. They must do this and that. So, or Jupiter is aspecting the fault. in which case some changes can happen in this life because of gurus, because of counselors, teachers, advisors, God, and so on. Okay. So, is there any other way to find events other than transit? Other than transit. Is it so difficult, this answer? I never expected it.
Nakshatra activation.
Why complicate? Dasha and Antardasha.
Yeah, the order is Dasha, Antardasha, and then transit, sir.
Exactly. So you should have answered that, right? Easy. In the Dasha and Antardasha, static information is given by Maharishi Parashara. Approach. Planets placed in 7th will give marriage. Planets aspecting the 7th Lord. Planet occupying the 1st because it is 7th from the 7th. And so on. So when you use all these rules, you can get some, this, like how you solve simultaneous equation in algebra. X, xy in that, xy in this. So you try to merge two lines and see the intersection points. Okay, when this dasha and antardasha comes, the transit is also clicking correctly. So it won't be that all the time this dasha and antardasha is happening connected to 7th house, the marriage will happen because you need the transit also to click at one point. And that will not happen very often. But for, so for example, you will notice some people like 10th Lord in the 8th, frequent job changes. Now that is a permanent feature of the chart. So the smallest reason they get in transit, they will keep changing the job. Next job, next job, next job. There are people who don't change their jobs at all. They stay in the same place for years. It's because they're 10th house, 4th house. They all have a lot of stability. And because of that, they refuse to change. So you'll have to be, this is what Varamir has said, you have to be extremely smart if you have to become a professional astrologer. Otherwise, just to find out basic things about any horoscope, you don't have to be that smart. You can still, get some basic, just refer to a book and give a reading. Okay.
Sir, 12th Lord not in Kendra. 12th Lord not in Kendra is like licensed to be unmarried.
Those are my words. How do you know these words?
Yeah, I wrote it down in the last Patreon session.
Okay.
So.
Okay, very good. The 12th house not in Kendra is licensed to be unmarried. But unmarried. But of the 12th Lord not in Kendra, can you make it better than that? In which houses it is most probably not going to give a marriage?
So 6th and 8th houses.
Out of that, which one is more?
8th.
6th, sir. 6th.
6th is the more important, or the 12th Lord in 12th. That axis, the 6-12 axis. 8th is slightly one step below that. Okay.
So what about if 12th Lord is debilitated?
12th Lord is?
Debilitated.
That is not a big point. After... if you know Shadbala, you look at my chart. Jupiter is debilitated, right, in Capricorn. In Lagna.
Yes, sir. But exalted Navam, sir.
Yeah, so before I became a professional astrologer, I went to Chennai's topmost astrologers and asked them, can I become a professional astrologer? They all told the same answer. You will never be able to do it because Jupiter is debilitated. Okay. Today I pity those astrologers. Though they have a great, following.
So Saturn is own house, so it is not Nicha.
It's not Nicha. Saturn in own house.
Nicha Bhanga is what it is.
Nicha Bhanga.
Okay. I want to tell all of you, before going into Nicha Bhanga, a planet is still not weak just because it's debilitated. Sometimes exalted planet can be the weakest planet, and the weak debilitated planet can be the strongest planet in Shadbala itself. If you don't go to Shadbala, you might miss a lot of points. Okay. Additional point was, if the said planet is exalted in Navamsha, it becomes extraordinarily powerful. Very powerful. So, through astrology, I got to meet the extraordinary people. Because of that, strength in the D9 chart. And D9 of all the divisional charts, that's the highest chart. The most important divisional chart. So, Parashara always asks, is it exalted in Navamsha? Of course, I don't remember which student told me about your Saturn is also in Lagna. Okay. Now, Saturn in Lagna, if you use Nicha Bhanga Raj Yoga concept, yes, it is. Okay.
And 12th Lord is exalted in the D9, sir. Just to say. The 12th Lord of D1 is exalted in D9.
D9.
First of all, we said the 12th Lord is debilitated in D1, but it is exalted in D9.
Yeah. So suppose you want to say something about 12th house. Why is 12th house so important? Is because marriage alone is a kind of a sharing. Okay. It's not just the physical part. It's not just the karma part. The 7th house matter. And in the Kala Purusha, the 7th house is ruled by Venus, the Karaka for union. So, what is different in marriage over any other type of relationship is 12th house only. Any proof of what I said just now? Why is 12th house to be given so much importance for children and marriage?
Bed comforts.
No, I want a proof directly, direct proof.
You lose, sir, in this relationship, but you gain the women from that.
No, I know all. I accept all that, right? You're right.
So because when you share, you lose some of what you have. Some of the things which you have. That is a 12th house matter.
Okay, don't worry too much. There is a chapter in G.C. Sharma's book. It is chapter number 32. Chapter number 32 is Upapada Lagna. Upapada. Okay. So
someone typed. Someone typed in the chat already.
Is it? Oh, I'm not looking there at all. I'm looking at the screen. Thank you. So in that, the Maharishi writes about spouse and children as derived from Upapada. So it becomes, what is Upapada? It is the Pada of the 12th house. Like Arudha Lagna is Pada of the first house. Upapada is 12th house. Why is it so important? The moment you marry, half of you is gone. It's shared. On top of that, children, enough. Okay. So it's the highest form of sharing. So in a way, the sannyasis are selfish also. They are not wanting to share. But true sannyasis, I'm talking about bachelors. True sannyasis will have the entire world as their children. You understand?
So they give everything.
They'll give everything, and they'll spend their entire life for the welfare. That is the true sannyas. In between, we have a gap of people who are taking advantage of the idea. Okay. Not marrying, but yet very active in the worldly life. And they are the ones who are actually sinners.
Guruji, so I've seen that people with sun in the 12th, they reject marriage.
Okay.
I mean, because of some XYZ reasons or their ego or because of this.
So the Upapada Lagna in this chart, can you say where is the Upapada Lagna?
Aquarius.
Aquarius. Very good. I hope by now all of you know how to do the Upapada Lagna. Anybody who does not know? You can never make a concrete, dependable statement in marriage without referring to Upapada. Don't be shy if you do not.
Powerful.
Upapada Lagna is very powerful.
So, I mean,
now an additional point is that second house is Upapada. So that place itself will become very sensitive. And anything can you pick up from Upapada Lagna?
Sir,
Moon is 7th from Upapada Lagna, sir.
Moon is 7th from Upapada. What does that mean?
Upapada Lagna.
So Moon is 7th Lord from Lagna and also 7th from Upapada Lagna.
Okay. Moon has become...
Upapada Lagna Lord is in one house, and the second from Upapada is exalted in Navamsha, and also it's in the 11th from second house.
First rule is no malefics in first house and second from Upapada. That's the first one. Any malefic, it's a hint. Horoscope matching is compulsory. Be careful in marriage, and so on. So if you use this idea, Upapada, it will take you to another dimension of some extraordinary results which you will never find using any other idea except the Upapada. Okay, so please don't skip the Upapada or the Arudha Lagna. Both. The AL and the UL alone is enough. Don't keep doing every house the Pada Lagna. I mean, if you have time, of course you can do it, but it is not of that, it's not so practical. Practical is Arudha Lagna and Upapada Lagna, more than enough. So one of the rules is,
Guruji, in Upadesha Sutras, it said that Rahu Ketu does not get debilitated in Taurus and Scorpio. He gave a different house. Now I'm outside, I don't have the book with me, but it was not the same as...
No, that has been, that even when Parashara was living itself, there was this conflicting views on the exaltation and debilitation of nobody is, even now they're all confused in spite of Parashara, because Parashara himself admits that there is some doubt about that. Maybe Rahu and Ketu are anyway invisible and you really can't pinpoint. You can say, but see, I am saying if you stick to one idea and keep using it, I have found that Rahu is exalted in Rishabha and Ketu is exalted in Scorpio, works a good deal for me, at least. It's my personal opinion.
Guruji, the exaltation is not a problem. The only problem is the debilitation.
That's what I'm saying.
It's agreed. It's agreed that they are exalted in Rishabha and
usually exaltation and debilitations are opposite. So that was the point.
Guruji, you said there should be no malefics in the Upapada Lagna or second from Upapada Lagna or both.
If both, it is definitely trouble. But this will become a very big thing because Upapada Lagna is something about your the way you were in your past lives, it seems. So it is so strongly connected to your past life where spouse and children, what fault or not sharing has led to something. If you had an Upapada Lagna affliction, it was mainly because you weren't sharing in the past life. And so the universe says, if I give you a spouse, you will not share again.
So you have to check both the Upapada Lagna and also second also.
Exactly. The second Upapada. Malefics there destroy.
Upapada Lagna differentiating.
Pardon me?
Sir, can Upapada Lagna be a differentiating factor? Like in your case, sir, like in Rahu Dasha, Guru Bhukti, you could have started a business also. Why marriage? What triggered the marriage instead of business? Like because both are related to 7th house.
Yeah. There it is only about common sense also. Okay.
So can Upapada Lagna like differentiate?
No, because one of the thing that in the D9 Jupiter, D9 is for Kalatra, no? Marriage. So in D9, Jupiter became the 7th Lord exalted. And a parivartana between 7 and 2. Because of that, it had more importance to marriage. Whereas if you didn't come to D9, it's very difficult to say, why can't it be a business also? In a way, Rahu Jupiter opened up my life because I was very active at NIIT, and then marriage followed. Okay. Those are the two unforgettable events, because whatever I am today, using my own software, which helped me a lot in my readings, which I can't do without, like, for example, if people ask me to read from any other software, I won't be able to do justice because I've got addicted to whatever.
Can we say that Moon in the 8th played there because you're supposed to be a programmer and then you took a U-turn, became an astrologer?
Yeah, possible. I did many things, but I was very active and all that. But yeah, after that, complete U-turn only. I gave up programming immediately after I started, but I wrote my software. That was the last thing I wrote. After that, but I wrote it for nearly 7 years. And I didn't have any assistance. I wrote it all alone. It will run to thousands and thousands of pages of
Is it
coding.
software in public? Can we purchase it?
No, it won't work. Yeah.
Sir, for business, we can't use D9, sir, right?
Business, you can't use D9 because only D10 you'll have to use. So that's the difference. See, but apart from that, when Moon is in the 7th from Upapada, marriage is earlier, quicker. Okay. No malefics on 1/7 of Upapada. And so marriage has to happen on time.
Sir, if there is malefics in the second, like Upapada, so what do they do? Like, anyway, they know that the marriage is not going to sustain, so they don't marry?
They're supposed to prove to the universe that they're willing to share by increasing their donations for other people's marriage and children, and set an example, and then reverse the karma. No, I'm not miserly, or I'm not non-sharing anymore. I look at me, I'm sharing. He or she has to prove it. When they start doing these remedies, it will let them go. Otherwise, it will be troubled marriage.
Yeah, and after, if there is one marriage that is gone, and for the second marriage also, it would be the same, right?
No, it won't be the same intensity. Definitely not. Because once you go through an experience, the karma quota will disappear into that.
Guruji, for second marriage,
with the planet, do you know what kind of affliction we have in the UL, sir?
Yeah, exactly. If you know more and more about the planets, in the methodology, you will know. Yeah.
So, for example, if the Saturn is there in the UL and the Mars is there in the UL, there is a difference between the problems that are faced by them?
Yeah, if Saturn and Mars are on Upapada or the second Upapada, a lot of violence was there in the past life. Maybe this person was a male who was so violent. We can only guess that. There are a lot of, very high-level fight if Saturn and Mars are together in one of these houses. But if Ketu is there, it would be like simply walking away. Suddenly, this person got some jnana and thought that marriage is useless. I should be on my own. And then decides to go away. So sometimes it will be Ketu in the Upapada Lagna. Okay, depending upon.
So for second,
yeah,
I have a question.
Guruji, for second marriage, shouldn't we see 8 from the Upapada Lagna?
See, there are so many sub rules like this. You can, but I somehow feel that the horoscope, as you go through a marriage. And finish the problems in that, the karma diminishes because it's like facing the punishment of the past life. And then you also learn, you mellow down.
I was looking at a chart. Okay, the person from second from Upapada Lagna had some malefics. So obviously and also 12th house affliction, first marriage got over. Then I looked at 8 from the Upapada Lagna, second marriage was also over. Similar problems were there. But then
it all depends on what ideas come to your mind. In those days, if the marriage fails, you know what happens from the male's point of view. marries a female, marriage is maybe the die, because in pregnancy those years, in the ancient, I mean up to recently, until recently, pregnancy was almost like no guarantee, a person could die.
Even now it's true.
Yeah, I know it's true. No, I'm just let me complete this. So what they'll do is, the other family, the other side, the in-laws, they'll feel bad about it and then say, don't worry, you marry her sister. So in the times, whatever was relevant, they used to adjust it like that. So they'll say, okay, 7th house is house of spouse, and that is my wife. And then the wife's sister is 3rd house from that. So 9th house is second marriage. So it all depends on the context in which you're speaking. It's not so easy to say. Usually, troubled marriage is the basis for a second marriage. Usually, but not necessarily.
In the story I wanted to share, that the Upapada Lagna of 8 from there, and then 8 from there. So it says 3rd marriage would be good. Okay. And this person met this lady who sits in a temple where she does Kuriyose. And she said to the person that if you marry the 3rd time, it will work. The 3rd time will really work well, and you will also become a MLA local area. Because he could not stand, and I mean, right now he cannot stand on the local assembly because he doesn't have a spouse.
Oh.
But
See,
it's very powerful.
One thing about success of marriage, it largely depends on more nakshatra match. The higher the score, and Kuja dosha, Mangal dosha should be, present in both or absent in both. Those things are working on the background, or why a marriage succeeds. So every little thing you have to, put it all together in the jigsaw puzzle. So you marry a person, marriage fails. Second time you marry, it succeeds. It's not just because it's second marriage. It is because there is no more compatibility to it. The first marriages are usually sometimes love marriages where buddhi, karma, and sarani would have worked. When they are fated for a bad marriage, they fall in love with the exact, now within quotes, the right person. And you are the one who's going to give me the divorce. Please come and marry me. So that thought will work. And a second time they'll become different, and then they might do some selection process. They might go to an astrologer. So many things happen. It won't be the same because of these factors. You get smarter, you do more investigation, you become more, instead of becoming emotional or subjective, you become objective. Then it may work out also. Or sometimes, there are so many other reasons why second marriage. Do you know anything from Brigu Sutram where you get a hint that the second marriage, something nice will happen? Like that? You have any statement?
Saturn in second, sir. Second marriage, he will get children, or the native can have a chance to get children, a daughter like that.
Saturn in second.
Fifth house. I remember being at 5th house and Jupiter aspecting.
No, I mean, you're right about the planet, but a little adjustment.
Maybe Saturn in the 5th.
Saturn in the 5th.
Guru aspecting the 5th house.
Saturn in the 5th, he hints that the first one alone will be making the person childless, but the second will give, right? So you see, it looks like the punishment is experienced, and then it slightly alters it afterwards. So I always used to think about it like you committed a crime, you went to jail, you finished the sentence, you came out, you are no more bad in the eyes of law. So you've been punished. So that's what I think. So that's when we always say God is merciful. Thank God, He is able to forgive us.
Guruji, which is more important, UL or second from UL, or both equally important?
UL is more important than even the second.
Okay.
UL is for marriage, second from UL is like, how will the marriage survive?
Yeah, a slight difference because it is about longevity. Whereas the actual affliction is read only from Upapada Lagna itself. If there are so many rules like this. the quality and so on. But if you know, as you add parameters, it will get even better. Like, where is it? D9. This is my D9 chart, right? I have moon in 7th house in D9. So in my wife's horoscope, the ascendant is here. And where do you think the moon is? Here. Anybody wants to guess?
Ascendant.
Okay, ascendant. It is here.
Exalted moon. My God.
That,
so lucky.
In my chart, it is Upapada Lagna, 7th house moon. So in her chart, Jupiter is here, exalted. So that in my chart is here. You understand? So there will be always some interconnection. What you can do now onwards, whenever you study the horoscopes of couples, I mean, who's been married for a long time, you can always overlap both the Rashi charts, Rashi to Rashi, Navamsa to Navamsa, and then crisscross and overlap it. My Rashi over her Navamsa over my Rashi, or Rashi to, like that, in different combinations you can do. But it's only done between D1 and D9, because only these are relevant. Okay. So,
sir, I have one question, sir, related to D9. Can we guess? I mean, for the partnerships in business, can we use D9, sir? No.
I mean, there will be some connections because they say it's actually partnership indirectly. Okay. So it will work.
Sir, is it true that Navamsa is also used for seeing the life, the second half of the life, like after the middle age?
That is because of common sense. You get married in the second half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only common sense. Oh, Soumya says she's so beautiful. 1 minute. An interesting comment by Dr. Soumya. She's so beautiful. One of the reasons why it got fixed in 5 minutes.
Your marriage got fixed in 5 minutes, you said?
That is because my father is a very forceful person. Very forceful. So my father-in-law is saying she hasn't completed her education. She is in the 2nd year. He said 1 year we'll wait. He said nothing doing, we're getting her married immediately. So he became like the father in that house. And then the man had to say yes. Okay.
Sir, I don't know how to connect to this, but even my marriage got fixed in just 5 minutes.
Very good. You're happy, right?
Sir, I have Mangal Dosha, but my husband does not have it.
Oh, okay. Then you'll have to recite or get into the bhakti of Subramanya, yes. Because I'm looking for the universal, name instead of Muruga in South, in Tamil Nadu. So those who do this this bhakti, the prayer, regular prayer, Skanda Shashti, Skanda Shashti Kavacham or Shashti Vrat and so on. They can do that, protect the marriage. And do not unite on Tuesday as a remedy.
Sir, this is already a second marriage.
Followed by them. Sorry.
No. Did you not do horoscope matching prior to marriage?
Sir, we did. The astrologer said it's wonderful. You can go ahead. But let me tell you, sir, this is the second marriage. So I don't know whether it's going to be very good or not. I don't know. It's kind of average now. Sometimes very good, sometimes little bad. So do you think Mangal dosha gets cancelled or lessened with the second marriage?
Yeah, definitely. The power comes down. But once you know astrology, then you should use common sense. At least from your end, you should not come up with anything that leads to troubled marriage. This is one, but Kuja dosha is not actually only troubled marriage. It could be health problem to the spouse. Who is having it will affect the other person's health and lifespan. So that's why Mars, Mars worship. Okay, you can also consider blood donation as one of the ideas, or distributing red items, and becoming a vegetarian like this. Doing all of that, which is connected to Mars, war, and therefore peace. Warrior planet, therefore peace. Then you go to Buddha and read about non-violence, ahimsa, and so on, and tell this mantra often, Sahana Bhavatu. Our peace mantra, Shanti mantras. I don't want fight, and like this, there are so many ways. See, one thing
these all should be done by the person who don't have the Mangal dosha, sir, or who have it.
No, because if something happens to one, the other person also affected in marriage, right? So both should do. You're right, but it depends on for whom the ascendant. From the ascendant, Mars is a malefic. They have to do more. For which lagnas Mars is a big enemy?
Virgo. Gemini.
Yeah, Virgo is number one malefic, right? And even for Capricorn lagna is number one. So once you know for whom Mars is number one malefic, that person should do more. But actually, see, the marriage still, you can do a lot to change it once you know the problem. It's like there won't be a permanent cure like in diabetes. And I think now people are saying we can cure diabetes also, but maybe not all the types. But once it is incurable, then there are methods to kind of use medicines to, alter the results to be in a safer zone, but the disease won't go. You can manage the disease. Like that, you can manage marriage. You see, eventually, towards the last part of the life, whoever has got Kuja dosha, that person will survive the other. So that will anyway happen one day or the other. So let it be in the last part of our life, when we are very old and so on. So Skanda Shashti, Tuesday you try to do some special things and and promote vegetarianism, promote ahimsa. Yeah, very good, very good. And hope for the best. Don't be scared, because astrology is to be used for changing karma and not for predicting. Though it starts with predicting and then trying to change it. Without predicting, you cannot attempt to change. You have to predict first and then say, no, who said it's going to surely happen? I'm going to make it false. Don't we have stories like Satyavan, Savitri? We have proofs. Yeah. So when you pray for the other person, welfare, something in karma gets altered. You have to believe these things. I mean, it happens in every field. Even doctors know. They say a wonder has happened, a medical miracle has happened. We expected this, but thank God. We are, so many things have changed. But in certain places, Mangal dosha, usually the acid test will be in the first year itself, always. So usually I tell people that if you cross the first year of marriage, most probably it's not going to be that bad. Only if there is a future dasha sandhi, when dashas are clashing, in that 1 year, you try to do a lot of extra prayers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So is Mangal dosha, will it be less severe if the Mars is a functional benefit for the particular ascendant?
It must be, but I mean, that's a common sense approach, but Parashara did not mention it. He simply said the planet is a planet, whatever it is. But I mean, you can use common sense, right? For example, for a Rishabha Lagna, Mars will be 7th Lord in the 7th. But so many people use those rules to say there is no Kuja dosha. But I still feel we have to accept what Maharshi said. He didn't say that. But maybe the intensity is slightly lower in case it is in Swakshetra. Who knows? But if it is debilitated, it will be very bad. Yeah.
I have seen a couple, sir, with 7th Lord and 7th. The husband has it, but the wife is suffering, sir. It's not that.
Yeah, that is the reason why we stick to the books. We better stick to the books. But then afterwards, when it gets subjective, you want to encourage the person, you say there will be an alteration, but it won't, but still, bottom line, all these things will be there. The basic experience will always be waiting for opportunity. So we are feeling the threat to life should reduce if you don't take others' life. So vegetarianism is the best way for controlling Mangal dosha.
Sir, Magara Lagna, this 11th Lord, this is also Mangal dosha?
No. It has to be placed in 2nd house, 4th house, 7th house. It's placement based. Mangal dosha is placement based. Right? I've done a small video on the logics of Mangal dosha. Please watch it. Okay. See, I will tell you an unforgettable story, which I have also documented. Some of you might have already read this story. Happened long time back when a boy came for, a man came for his sister. And he said 2 horoscopes. I said, no match. So just find another person for your sister. And he said, no, I cannot do that. I said, why? Because the marriage is already fixed. Wedding card has been circulated. The marriage is going to happen very quick. And I said, then you shouldn't have come for a consultation. He said, somebody in Sifi.com, that time Satyam Online, in Tidal Park told about you. And my father said something, and then I came. Yeah, so, but it doesn't match. I repeated the same thing. No, you cannot tell like that. And I didn't know what to do. And but my earlier statement was stop the marriage, cancel the marriage. He said, if we do that, we'll all commit suicide. Okay. I said, why should you commit suicide for that? And it went on like that. And then finally he asked, you must tell me some remedy because the marriage is going to happen. So I said, no remedy for this. The remedy is not marrying. That's all. That's the remedy. So he kept forcing me, and finally I yielded. So I told he should worship, both of them should worship Subramanya, Kartikeya. And he said, that's all. Yeah. So in the report, it has been already printed. This match is rejected. Please find another. So he said, can you strike off this line and sign it and say the marriage is good? I said, I can't do that. No, you gave me the remedies, right? So with the remedies, this is going to work. And so you can alter the statement and give it to me. I'll show that to my dad. I said, no, I cannot alter it. Whatever is there is there. For that, he argued another 15 minutes. And he went away. And after 6 months, he came back again. And those days, since I had fewer clients, I could remember his face. And though I didn't know the exact context, but then when he pulled out that report, I remembered the whole thing. And then I asked him, how's everything? He said they have applied for divorce. So he told me, see, I'm a software expert. You ask me anything in software, I'll know for sure. You are an astrologer. So you know what's going to happen. So you know it's going to end in a divorce. So you should have stopped me from doing the marriage. I told him, I tried that and you said we'll all commit suicide. Now what are you going to do? I asked. You want to commit suicide? You know, sometimes I do get worked up.
Second option.
Yeah. Then he said, you cannot talk like that. And I said, I tried my best to stop you from going ahead with this marriage. But you told, Subramaniam, you said Skanda Shashti and all this. But then somewhere, that idea came to me. Did they do it? I asked. No, I told my sister. Sister told, this is all bullshit, 1,000 years old or 10,000 years old ideas. Don't thrust it upon me. I don't believe in this pujas and muruga and all this stuff. That it can change karma or there's anything to do with horoscope. I don't believe all these things. Only fools will do such things. Then I asked, what about your brother-in-law? He's an atheist. So they didn't do that also. But when he got up, he said, in future, whenever somebody asks for a remedy, please don't give it. Just say, don't marry. I said, that's what I was always doing. You make it sound as though I had never done that. Now it is so clear to you that it is not matching. That day it was not. That day you were too eager to perform the marriage. Sometimes it's say fated also. You can't really blame that boy, that man. So it's so complex. Only for those who've been through bad marriage, only they will know how bad all this is from the past life.
Yeah. Yes, Guruji. In my case, in spite of the fact I was learning astrology at the time, I was with wonderful gurus. By the time when we decided and took a look at it, it was a wrong match. Of course, I went through prayers and all that to mitigate it, and the marriage lasted for 9 years without major problems, and ultimately we did end up in divorce. But there were other combinations, Jupiter watching, giving ninth aspect to Mars and Venus in the fourth house. That kind of mitigated the Kujadosha, but still, yeah, there was some. And it
will be in 2-3 layers. Maybe the original, the other rules in astrology, like for happy marriage, unhappy, or second marriage, troubled marriage, that will be existing. And then on top of that, if the Kujadosha mismatch happens, it is very bad. But sometimes my first case of proving or learning about Kujadosha was it's a very bad experience. Those days, I just used to be like being a beginner. I'll just quote the book and I will not even say divorce. I used to use the word death of your spouse will happen. And it happened exactly. That was my first professional consultation. And I said, if you marry this girl, you will die within a year, I said. And the boy died in an accident on the spot.
Yeah, so my mother fell in coma the same day.
Oh, okay.
That was, once again, it was during all those Sadesat years.
So the point is, okay, in that case, in that 1994 incident, that boy pulled out the photo of the girl and showed me and said,
most beautiful girl.
Yeah, so he told me, I mean, even that time I was not married. Oh no, I was married. Sorry. I was married. So he showed me, will you refuse to marry a person like this? And she was extremely beautiful. I said, of course, using common sense, nobody's going to, you should marry this person. But astrologically, if you marry, your life will be in danger. But he had come along with his friends. So there was proof. Otherwise, when you die, the dead stay dumb. We have a James Hadley Chase book with that title. So nobody is going to tell. But only these friends live to tell the story. He died on the spot. And so many other incidents like this happened. So once the sloka says something, it is always waiting for a chance. That's what I can say about astrology. And that proves the seriousness of karma. It's so important that we learn these things about life. We are preparing our next life. We better be kind. Can you help people get married? Can we support people's marriage? That's why people attend other people's marriage, right? It's just a way of encouraging. Let's get people married. So I mean, without marriage, maybe reproduction will go on, children will be produced, but the civilization cannot work because you need parenting, you need the children. I think only the crows take care of their young ones for a long time. I read about it. Yeah, they take care for nearly 20 years.
Oh my God. Slowly.
That's the reason why it is, a very strange bird, and it's so much connected to Saturn, I think.
But they're very intelligent, very intelligent.
Yeah, they're very intelligent and problem solving. You can see the crows all over. If you give them a dried biscuit or something, they take it and look for water, put it in the water and soften it up and then consume it. It doesn't appear to be an ordinary creature. Okay, so our masters are smart. And this, before I started doing Saturn remedies, a lot of bird dropping, crow dropping used to fall on me. But ever since I started doing remedies for Saturn, it stopped completely. There is not a single incident. But one recent one somewhere, it was almost, I missed it by a feet. And but before that, it was so common. Finding hair in your food is one of Saturn's biggest thing. Dandruff, an unyielding dandruff. For example, Saturn in the 7th house, very difficult, dandruff. So dandruff, toothache, knee problem, left side knee damage, like this, you get a lot of clues. And I think somebody in the Patreon group was typing, this is the way the universe communicates with us. That is a wonderful statement. And this, what is that word? Synchronicity. Carl Jung's description, acausal connecting principle. So you cannot dismiss it off as a joke or a superstition. Something else is there. We have to believe in certain things. And it's all depends on how much meaning you can derive. So we're looking at the same planetary position in the sky, so much we are talking about human beings. You people even guessed, gradually you guessed the time of my marriage and so many things. You spoke about my marriage. Dr. Soumya is saying, she typed, she's beautiful, but meanwhile others said that's because moon is in the 7th in Navamsha. Upapada Lagna, moon is in the 7th. Okay, so
there's one strange connection I noticed in that chart. The UL and the second house of family, both seem to be having very strong Upachaya houses, the same Upachaya houses and strong houses. All the Upachaya lords are in the Lagna.
Okay.
From the second house.
Okay.
So which showed that there was something which was destined to happen, right? Using stack up for family and for marriage. That speaks volumes about the quality, I guess.
No, this is what sometimes you see. There's no, for example, I had no plans for marriage or desire for marriage. I was so, terribly interested in programming, and no other thought. When my colleagues used to go home for resting, I used to stay in the at the office and keep typing, all the codes, experimenting with different options. I was actually very, I was so natural at it. So when you want marriage and you go after it, you don't get married. So when something like that happens, only you have to bring in karma theory. Why are you trying and why are you not getting married? But if you say, I don't want to get married, you don't have to seek an explanation in the horoscope. Okay. Whereas fated marriages, like in my case, where, no thought at all. Just coming home and saying, next week you come, we are going to one house. And that's it. Go there, done. Everything is over. And in Kerala, our marriage is only 5 minutes marriage. You get onto stage, marriage is over and you get down. So my friends were all surprised. Is this the way you people get married? Such a short thing. So when you want it, then it will be 50-50. Maybe it is part Ichha Shakti and part karma. But when you don't want things happen, like how I went to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram, no interest at all. But how was I take it? I was literally, karmically forced to go. It's like saying, go there and learn about the practical way of astrology. If I had not gone there, I would not have become a professional astrologer. It was all set up. Like this, if you investigate each one of your life, it is already, you will figure it is set up only. If you go rewind and see what you have done. If you take Sai Prahlad, how he became this, he will find out. There will be all interconnected events that has led to that. Kishore or Guna Sitaraman or every single person in this room, you all, when you go backwards, it will all be like fitting into place. Whether it is good or bad, everything will be in accordance to the horoscope. So that is the reason, sometimes I used to wonder, why Ramana Maharshi is running off from home? What is so serious? What is so seriously wrong with life that you have to literally run away? Why is Buddha, when he's the king, going to the forest? Is there something so horrible in life that you have to run away like this? So it's not so easy.
Can we say that events that are not planned by us consciously are karmic events?
Fully karmic. You don't plan, and if it happens, it is karmic. If somebody comes and bangs your car from behind, it is definitely karmic. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, Guruji. So that means that will be having
more. Kishore, 1 second. Before that, 1 second. To prove it is karma, you can connect it back to your chart and get the final confirmation. That's the best.
I keep getting it from all the AA charts.
You will get, for sure you will get.
That is the reason I'm day by day, I'm getting amazed by these coincidences. I want to speak out to someone, and Sai is the only person I can call. So I keep.
No, that is why I start sometimes the class early, so that you people can, that 1 hour or half an hour before the session, can discuss something very interesting. I thought, but now nobody's coming except at 8 o'clock. And I was thinking people from Australia might be, happy with the 7 o'clock, 1 hour before.
Yesterday or day before yesterday, I shared just just the chart without the names involved. Almost the single rule, all of them gave perfect predictions according to the information that was there.
So when something indicated by the chart happens exactly at that particular time, that is for sure fated to happen.
Almost all the house lords in various houses statements came true, Guruji, which is like, really strong guarantee that that astrology is a science, a marvelous science, something that we need to be amazed.
Exactly.
Your statement came this morning, Guruji. I read that and I was also surprised. Coincidence.
Okay.
This is the reason why people need to correct their time. They have to put some of their own personal knowledge and start adjusting.
Exactly. Correct.
Either in D9 or D20 to a level of precision of 2-3 minutes.
No, I feel that if a karmic event is there, and if it happens, if it is destined to happen, it is easier to predict it.
Exactly.
Whereas if an event is not karmic, then the astrologer comes
difficult. No. Even then, it will become 50-50 prediction. It will be like what Maharshi himself admits it as. You start guessing, he says. I think the Sanskrit word for that, it starts with a oo sound, uha, poha, something like that. That is guess from here. But here he says na samshaya. This will doubtlessly happen, where there it is only a tendency. So that's what I always tell people.
Is it upekshit? Upeksha?
Uha lochana,
uha poha, something like that. Okay.
Uha poha patu.
Yeah, that word. So he's saying that some events are tending to happen. So mostly it is this side only. But some events are so strong, it is like 100% definitely going to happen. Like, for example, if for Makar Lagna, in Saturn Dasha, Mercury is in the second along with Saturn, it will be horrible for a person financially. In the Dasha of Saturn and the Antardasha of Mercury. So after writing that statement, he even mentions this will happen doubtlessly. But why doesn't he say this every time? That is a difference. So you have to be very alert in these things. Like when is he saying it is definite, and whatever he says, first we will start it as definite only, but then you want to reconfirm it, and one more reason. You move like that, you will get firm predictions. And the purpose of prediction is not astrology itself. The purpose of prediction is to prove that we are being watched, our life is being recorded. You better do good things so that your next life, again, you will be helpless in the next life. You won't know why it is happening. You are violent in your marriage, you will get violence again in the next marriage. You got to stop it somehow. You got to stop fighting. You must love peace. Why all these mantras, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti? They are not just words. They're trying to program your mind. Calm down. Become normal. Okay. I think I have to go now. It's already late. So we'll catch up again next time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yes.
Thank you, Guruji.
Where is Prahlad for countdown?
Sir, your birth chart in 1962, 7 planets in the same position. Next, when will it come, sir? This same position.
Maybe I think it will come again, but it won't be exactly full tight conjunction like this. The next time they say such things happen once in 400 years.
400 years. Okay.
Yeah. It won't be exact. Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
Thank you.
T-5.
Well, Murugan, you didn't do your course with me, but you studied elsewhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You studied KP system, I think.
No, sir. Only Parasara Nadi.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you to everyone. So we'll meet again.
2.
Thank you, Guruji.
1.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
0.
Thank you, Guruji.
Bye.